Mamrie Hart here with 24 seconds of climate reality. Did you know that students are showing their smarts by pushing for alternative energy solutions? According to the U.S. National Solar Schools Census, there are nearly 2,900 K-12 schools in the U.S. with solar power. A pretty bright idea that's only getting brighter. And that's 24 seconds that can change the world.
What can change in a day? A solar array can power a community. A business can embrace clean technology. A nation can vote to reduce carbon pollution. Around the world, every day, people are taking action to fight climate change, enacting real solutions, and already seeing the benefits. Join us as we travel on a journey of progress around the world, exploring the path toward a better, cleaner future for all of us, and how you can help create it. What can change in a day? Our future. This is 24 Hours of Reality. 24 Reasons for Hope.
Of 24 Hours of Reality. Now, there aren't many events where you can say, welcome back to Hour 11 and not even be halfway through. But then again, this is not just any event, you guys. This is a global gathering to make a better and greener future for this planet that we all share. And this hour, we're putting our focus on the pivotal role the young people who represent our future are playing in this cause. We'll have more inspiring and informative field reports, more music, and more important information. And right now, we're going to hear from one of the defining and leading voices of our times, a man who has called upon all of us to reckon with an inconvenient truth. Here to set the theme for this hour, as he's doing for 24 consecutive hours, you guys, what an inspiration, the founder of the Climate Reality Project, Al Gore.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited about hour number 11 and the 11th reason for hope. This is also a very special reason and a particularly powerful reason for hope. The battle to solve the climate crisis, after all, is about the future of our civilization. It's about preserving our planet for generations to come. And some of the most inspiring activists in this struggle are young people who have taken up this cause around the world. Excuse me. Their efforts are widely apparent in almost every country, from university campuses and universities that are on the cutting edge of sustainability to businesses that are heeding the call of environmental responsibility. The voices of our youth are coming through loudly and clearly. So this reason for hope is that youth and students have driven an expansion of clean energy and are building awareness of the climate crisis and the need to solve it and seize the opportunities that we will have before us as we solve it. You can look all over the world, but I want to start with an example of a young man who has been particularly inspiring to me, William Kamkwamba from Malawi. If he, at the age of 14, could build a working windmill to provide electricity to his home and his family for the very first time, then we can solve the climate crisis. Just a brief word about William's story. He had to drop out of school because his parents no longer had the money to pay the school's tuition. And so he went to the library nearby and found a magazine with a blueprint of a windmill. And then he went around and scavenged parts from the junkyard and from some of the businesses around his village, and he put together an honest-to-goodness windmill that worked and provided electricity. And he became a little bit famous because people had never seen this kind of thing before. And then he went on to build more windmills to power his entire village. And he became more famous still. Incidentally, through an incredible chain of events, he ended up graduating from Dartmouth College in the United States just last June. And he is going to make a big difference wherever he puts his talents. But he is a great example, in my mind, of how young people inspire us by taking on challenges that others have never even imagined undertaking. Here we see an example of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts helping to prepare solar panels as part of a Scout project that teaches young people about renewable energy and teaches them about the reasons why we need to make a transition to renewable energy. There are so many examples, and students and young people come up with incredible ideas. This group at Green Mountain College created a portable living space that has solar panels and a rainwater collection system, a composting toilet, and some of these ideas turned out to be extremely valuable. In China, here is an example from Southwest China University of students who made their own solar-powered scooter and showed it off, and others have followed their example. This is from Barbados, biofuels, collecting used vegetable oil to create biofuels. There's a wide variety of activities. This is in Indonesia, where students are planting trees. And by the way, in China, every young person has to plant 2 trees a year, and does. Every adult too, as a matter of fact. The University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia. This is a particularly important university because it was the very first in the world to give young people an opportunity to get an undergraduate college degree in photovoltaic solar technology. And actually, some of the greatest breakthroughs and discoveries in the technology of photovoltaics have come from New South Wales and from Australia, because they have listened to the young people who wanted to study in this discipline, and now they've attracted some of the best professors in the entire world. Catholic University in Melbourne has saved a lot of money by installing solar panels and wind turbines. And it is very common to see young people become vigorous advocates on the campuses where they are in school, whether it's a college, postgraduate, or high school, and even elementary schools, as we'll see in just a moment. St. Olaf College in the United States in Minnesota now gets a third of its electricity from its own wind turbines, and there are many such examples. The University of California is purchasing enough solar power to offset 60% of the electricity being used at 5 of the state's 10 campuses, as well as at some of the university's medical centers. And by the way, the UC Regents just announced a groundbreaking new investment fund to invest in solutions to the climate crisis and to build their endowment further at the same time. Very inspiring. Here are the U.S. universities that are the largest users of renewable power. It is quite a group, and when you combine all of these schools, they're reducing CO2 emissions equivalent to what would come from almost 200,000 American homes. This organization, the American College and University Presidents Climate Commitment, represents 677 colleges and universities, and as a group, they are the 3rd largest purchaser of renewable energy credits in the United States, really making a tremendous difference. Let me go back one, because this is, this is a demonstration at Guilford College, calling for divestment from fossil fuels and expressing opposition to the XL Keystone pipeline. A similar demonstration outside the board meeting of Peabody Coal, and one of the great youth fuel reports that Vanessa Black has done for 24 hours focuses on Peabody Coal. You'll be hearing more about that. Here are students at Yale University demonstrating in favor of divestment. And a lot of people have been involved in this issue, but I want to give a shout out to my friend Bill McKibben and his organization 350.org, which has been particularly prominent in organizing and inspiring college students on campuses all across the United States and elsewhere in pushing for divestment. You're going to be hearing a lot more about this. And as I say, many groups are assisting in trying to build this divestment issue. Brown University, the same kind of demonstration. The Ivy League colleges haven't been very responsive, including my own alma mater, by the way, but Stanford took an important step in that direction, and quite a few colleges have. At UC, at the University of California, Santa Barbara, this is a great example of a college really digging in to invest in energy efficiency and more sustainability and photovoltaics and electric vehicle use. Similarly, Lewis and Clark College requiring all of their buildings to achieve at least gold status under the LEEDS program and get 100% of the college's electricity from renewables. They've reduced their greenhouse gas emissions by almost 1/3. And I mentioned at the outset that there are nearly 2,900 schools for students in kindergarten through the 12th grade that have already installed solar panels. Now, why is it that young people and students are so commonly found in the vanguard of social movements? I think it is partly because they are often relatively unencumbered by some of the lessons from decades earlier that turned out to be wrong. You may know the old saying from Mark Twain that what gets us into trouble is not what we don't know, it's what we know for sure that just ain't so. And young people sometimes look at our reality through fresh eyes, and they don't have the overlay of experience, which sometimes leads to mistakes and naivete, for sure. But it also leads at other times to a penetrating candor and honesty and truth-telling that we've all experienced from our children, those of us who have children. I remember during the Civil Rights Movement, when I was quite young, growing up a big part of my life in the South, my age group watched Bull Connor's hose on the demonstrators in Alabama and witnessed the incredible courage of a young man named John Lewis from Troy, Alabama, in Nashville, Tennessee, who used nonviolence to bring about the desegregation of all the lunch counters and then the movie theaters and then all the businesses in the city long before there was national legislation requiring it. And it was so clear to us as young people that it was morally wrong, indeed indefensible, to have laws that allowed the discrimination against men and women simply because of a difference in skin color. Earlier generations of young women were in the vanguard in the suffragette movement. Young people played an outsized role in the abolition movement, in the effort to get control of the nuclear arms race, in the movement for equality of rights for gays and lesbians and the GLBT community. It's just so clear to them, unencumbered in this case by prejudices that had dragged on from past times that right was right and right was wrong and wrong was wrong. And that is what is happening now with the climate issue. It is simply wrong and clearly wrong in the eyes of young people to destroy the climate balance and to diminish the prospects for future generations. So it's a wonderful cause of optimism and hope that young people and students are helping to lead the way. This, then, is the 11th reason for hope.
Thank you so much, Al, for your words and for your shining example. I'm so honored to speak with young people about climate issues often, but the time comes to turn all of that talk into action. And when all of us act together, we can make a world of difference. Tens of thousands of people have already taken the pledge to dedicate a day of action in the year to come. And today, we're asking you, yes, you, to join them here and now. Pledge to take a day for climate action, whether it's voting, marching, or speaking out in your community. Do what you can, but please do it. What can a day change? Well, with millions standing up together, what can't it? Go to 24hoursofreality.org to dedicate a day to climate action. The impacts of climate change have quickly become visible and devastating. More drought, more flooding, more severe storms are taking a toll on communities and economies around the world. As they do, it's more important than ever to understand that this challenge is not too great to address, you guys. In fact, solutions exist today. Let's take a look at the good news as a reminder that we can solve the climate crisis when we all act together.
Carbon dioxide has reached levels not seen in millions of years.
Climate change is here and getting worse.
Extreme weather has wrought havoc all over the world.
It's happening here and now.
We are running out of
damage by the water.
So there's been a lot of news about climate change. A lot of bad news, that is. And for the good news?
Right.
Well, there hasn't really been any. Until recently. Today we're facing the hard truth of climate change with the stubborn relentlessness of human will. And good news is happening.
Right. And now for some good news.
Every day, new solutions are emerging. And not just wouldn't it be neat if solutions, real solutions. Our ability to convert sunshine into usable energy is rapidly becoming more advanced and accessible. Which is great because every hour the sun is sending enough raw energy to Earth to meet the entire world's energy demands for a full year. And the cost for clean energy technologies is dropping. Right now, the cost of solar energy is equal to or cheaper than fossil fuel energy in about 79 countries.
I didn't even know there were 79 countries.
And the electric car market is booming thanks to falling battery prices. And guess who likes that?
Who?
All types of people from around the world are starting to embrace renewable solutions. Schools are being powered by clean energy. Financial institutions are realizing dirty energy is a bad investment. And businesses are finding that going green is good for the bottom line. Which leads us to more good news. These solutions are actually working. It turns out that what is good for the environment is also good for the economy in many ways, like reducing poverty, spurring innovation, and creating jobs. In 2013, nearly 6.5 million people were employed globally by the renewable energy industry.
Job creation. Brilliant.
Right. And while other industries are shrinking, renewables are growing as new technologies and capabilities are being rapidly discovered.
And here's some more great news.
This groundswell of support for renewable energy is forcing leaders and governments to take action. The two biggest carbon emitters, China and the US, have made moves to curb their carbon pollution and invest in cleaner energy technologies. And they're not alone. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is convening nations to forge a climate treaty that could unify the world to work together and lower our carbon emissions, transitioning us to a global clean energy society. We all know the bad news. Climate change is here. It's big, it's bad, and it's hurting us and our economies. But the important thing to know is that there is also good news. We have solutions here today, not dreams or wishes, real-world solutions that are ready to go and that are already saving money and improving lives.
Everyone's a winner.
If we rally around this good news and embrace solutions, we can forge the path to a clean energy future and make sure that progress is our new reality.
That's good news. Thank you for watching.
Just so inspiring, isn't it, you guys? And now that we're feeling good, let's take a little bit more specific, let's get a little more specific about the profound issues that bring us here with another of our informative field reports. Can one young person make a difference? Well, in our next report from the field, we're about to meet one climate reality leader who's living proof of the answer to that question. His sustainability work and message have reached thousands of people in his native Philippines. Take a look.
10-minute video.
Look at that.
It's my dream for Sibuyan Island to be the best example for sustainability in the Philippines and in the rest of the world. The River Camp is a program that I started, and this is also in partnership with Romblon State University, and I found it very effective because it's all about challenging the students, because I believe these young people will be leaders of tomorrow. I'm educating the people of Sibuyan Island because we are proud of ourselves. The world is changing. The climate is changing. Of course, my passion is all about taking care of the environment. We are all part of the environment. We are all nature. Whenever I'm in Metro Manila, two of the greatest challenges in the city is that the air is very polluted, and if you can see the rivers, there are a lot of wastes, solid waste, and even liquid wastes from the factories and, of course, from the people. 67% of the rivers in the Philippines are too polluted for domestic use, and 10% of the rivers are biologically dead. Going home to Sibuyan Island is quite a long journey, but it's worth it. So this is my usual commute. I need to travel almost 2 hours from Metro Manila coming to Batangas Pier, and then take around 12 hours again with this kind of ferry, then transfer to another ferry, and then we reach the island, Sibuyan Island. We call that the Galapagos of Asia. So from the port, we'll be going to a village, and it's more or less 20 kilometers from the port, and at least 1 hour jeepney ride. There are a lot of developments in the island, but the good thing is that we're still able to keep and manage the balance between nature and development, between protecting the environment and exploitation, and that's a good thing. We belong to a very small island in the middle of the Philippines, but we have 90% clean energy. And having the mini hydro power plant is very important. It is efficient, reliable, and it is very cheap, and it provides more or less 300% more green jobs compared to the diesel power plant that we have 5 years ago. A certain small amount of water is coursed through a dam to a pipe and to what they call the surge tank. And the surge tank provides water directly to the plant. It's very surprising that this amount of water being rerouted from the main river gives a 900 kilowatt power for 57,000 people. Almost everything we get from that river. Irrigation system, clean energy, and even drinking water. So I usually do this, walking the talk. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll try the clean water from a clean river. And yes, I have a cup with me. And yeah. So clean and cold. Let me try this. Oh, the water from the river is so clear. This is clean. Refreshing. So I say we have clean river, we have clean water, producing clean energy for a very clean future. It's all about challenging the students, challenging the children, because I believe this people, these children, these young people will be leaders of tomorrow. It's all about realizing that everything is interconnected.
How can we relate the problem? In our own science lessons, we have 20 or 25 typhoons per year. We have signal number 1, signal number 2, and signal number 3. We now have signal number 4. And we now have signal number 5. Why is this happening? That's the biggest question. And the biggest question will be answered by explaining reality to your parents, explaining what's happening to your lolo and lola.
The river camp is about gathering people, especially children and students, and teaching them how to make a change. Not really big changes or big transformation, but little things that they can do every day in their house, in their communities, in their families.
Now, the question would be, how can you explain climate reality or extreme weather conditions in 60 seconds?
Without Rodney, these students will not be aware of this climate change. It is because of his lectures, our children are benefiting much from him.
So when you go home, you can explain this to everyone.
There are a lot of choices in our lives from the moment we wake up and to the moment we sleep. All of these things are all choices, and we need to think about it.
Hey, we're in the little island, but we can do something. We did something, and this is what you can do to protect the climate or to protect your environment. What will you do? I'll teach you 8 ways on how to do that. Are you ready? This is what you call 8 R's. You're already familiar with the 3 R's. What are those? The 3: reduce, reuse, recycle. Oh, what is reduce? Reduce is reduce your consumption. If you do not use your cell phone or your chargers of the cell phone, plug it out. If you do not use your television, plug it out. Conserve energy. So reduce. Second, reuse. If you go to the fast food chains, you do not only pay for your food, you also pay for the utensils you use. Don't leave it there. Bring it home. It is using again the thing in its original purpose. Recycle. What is recycle? Recycle is using that thing not in its original purpose, but new purpose. Now, I'll give you the 4th R. Repair. If it is destroyed, you repair. If you have television and it does not show pictures anymore, bring it to the repairman. And then you repair it. Then it's okay, it's done. You need not decide, my television is destroyed, I'll buy another one. Oh, I have iPhone 1, I'll buy another iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have iPhone 7, we have Samsung like this, Samsung like that, Samsung like this, and Samsung like this big. Repair. Refuse. Somebody offers you something. Okay, you buy another television, flat screen TV, LED. You buy 5 so that when you look up, you have television on the ceiling. When you look down, you have television on the floor. When you right and left, you have all televisions. And wherever you look, you have television. Because in the world, sometimes, if not at all times, it is great and noble to say no. Now, there's another one. Rethink. Think of whatever you do. Does it affect your neighbor? Does it affect yourself? Will it affect your kinabukasan or the next generation? Always think. Rethink so that also you can feel it. And the 7th one is what you call reforest. You see a seedling like that? It will not take you 1 hour to plant a tree. So if you plant a tree every day, you can do it. It will not take a lot of time to do it. And number 8 is reconnect. Reconnection is just like this. Everything in your body comes from the earth. Everything. When I eat fish, I look like a fish. Remember, always remember, we are all nature. We belong to each other. Whatever you do to the rest of your brothers and sisters, you do it to nature.
Me as a student is one of the instruments that can contribute big to solve the climate change that what is doing now. And I also learned that the climate change is one of the factors that changes the whole world.
If you consider all those 8 R's, you'll have to be led to the 9th R, and that is respect. You respect nature, I respect you. I respect myself, I respect nature.
We show people hope that we can still do something about this environmental crisis.
We are poor, we're isolated island, living in an isolated island, but you know what? We can take care of our forest. We can have clean energy, we can have good life. We are proud of ourselves. That's why we're telling you people of the world, we can do something because we are able to do it.
We are climate reality.
Music has a power all its own to inspire us, and that's especially true of this next great band that has worked closely with the Climate Reality Project. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Linkin Park. We all know that nothing can compare with the enthusiasm of a child. And in our next report from the field, we travel to Australia, where one organization has brought sustainability teachings into the classroom with infectious results.
Cool Australia helps teachers get sustainability understandings into the classroom.
Kids naturally are very into environment. They're very conscious of the world around them. The earlier we can promote sustainable practices in students, the better.
Who's doing metal?
All right, once you've got it sorted, sit back down with the rest of the group, please. All right, guys, good work with picking up the rubbish. We've been talking about how we need to look at rubbish a little bit differently. Now, when we have a look around, what sort of things have we collected the most of? Jade?
Food wrappers.
Good.
I love to see them outside in the garden. They implement a lot of the things that we've discussed, and they take on board things and try new things themselves.
We have the chooks that we sell the eggs. We have recycling bins in every single learning house, and we can get the compost and grind that down and make into fertiliser and things. We have wetlands, we have veggie patches.
I'd returned from Antarctica and was writing a book about my adventures down there and discovered what a horrible job we're doing as stewards of our planet. And I decided the next thing I was going to do was to do something about educating our next generations for a sustainable future.
You can see the red line shows what the sea ice looked like at the Arctic Circle in 1979, and in 2008, when this picture was taken, you can see how much actual sea ice we've lost.
For the first 4 years, I funded the program personally, and we've since been able to convince several like-minded organisations, some corporates to join us and as sponsors of our program. So that really covers us being able to continue to create great resources for students, provide professional development for teachers to make them better teachers, and of course to be able to sustain our operation with ongoing fundraising and revenue-driving campaigns.
Smart ways to live. Heaps of smart ways to live. Join a challenge at your school.
So a few years ago we were wondering about what was going to be the call to action. What's going to give the students a sense of purpose that they can go out and really impact in their local community, their local school and home. So we had this idea for Enviro Week where kids all around Australia can get together and take action for a sustainable future. This year's theme has been Smart Ways to Live, and it has encouraged student-led behaviour to change the way schools do business.
Food that keeps me lean. Live a life outside. Catch your energy from the sun. To keep Australia wealthy, our environment's got to be healthy. Our planet's all we've got. Let's not make it hot.
A couple of weeks ago, we brought the preps in to have a look at our gardens and teach them about some plants. When they got to my area, I asked them, have you ever heard of a couple of different types of herbs? And they said no. And then I rubbed it on their hands or did something to show them. And then they're like, yeah, Mum and Dad have used that in their cooking.
Well, I think it's not just for their own education. They do go home and educate their families and the wider communities.
I think it's good to grow your own veggies at home and stuff because they're fresh and it's fun and you get dirty. And then also being able to taste all the different veggies and fruits and things that you've planted. It's just fun, yeah.
When you're planting a garden or you're doing these different things, a lot more will grow out of the garden than the seeds that you put in. So there's lots of unexpected things that pop up and different challenges and how they're going to address them. So I suppose it's watching this whole exploration of whether it be biodiversity or energy or climate through the classroom and seeing the kids' growth and appreciation and understanding and really feeling that they're a part of something bigger and a hope for the future. We're here for 24 hours of climate reality, 24 reasons for hope.
Help create a sustainable future.
Cool Australia. It was great fun.
Oh, hello there. Just out doing some research. This is a tree, in case you were wondering. Now, am I a scientist? No. I'm not one of your diploma scientists, but it's a lovely Saturday. I was asked to leave my house for a couple hours, and so here we are. What better way to do a little research, test some hypotheses, than to hit the streets? What would you say the difference is between these two pictures?
I think that this is winter and this is like spring. This is water.
Good call. This is a picture of a glacier taken in 1941. Same area in 2004. No glacier. Pardon. What do Nick Lachey and Iowa temperatures have in common?
Who's Nick Lachey?
They both peaked with 98 degrees. You know who Nick Lachey is?
No idea.
All right, very good. What color would you say this map is?
Mostly red.
Point out some red spots.
Here, 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 and here.
That's perfect. I think you got it. I think you aced it. The red areas of this map represent a lack of ground level water due to the severe drought in 2012. Okay, pardon. Can I ask something? What's the difference between the Arctic and my ex-girlfriend?
The Arctic and your ex-girlfriend?
My ex-girlfriend will always be cold. What would you say the differences are between the top picture and the bottom picture?
This part doesn't have that part. The white on this one is bigger and the white on this one is smaller.
Who's the scientist here? Can you point out some places where they're white on the top and not where it's not white on the bottom?
Here and there.
I stared at this thing for hours before I got that. The white part of this map is what Arctic sea ice looked like in September 1979. In September 2007, very different picture. What's the difference between Earth's ecosystem and Goldman Sachs?
I have no idea.
The world's ecosystem is not too big to fail. It's a thinker, but you get it. Tell me what you see in this picture.
Some dead trees.
Point out the dead trees there.
This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one.
Now, what makes you think that they're dead?
They're brown.
Interesting. This is a picture of trees destroyed by pine beetles. Pine beetles can make their home at higher and higher altitudes because winters are no longer cold enough. So, point pine beetles. What does a Midwestern farmer and a rapper have in common?
I really don't know.
Oh, thank you for saying that. They both want to make it rain. Okay, as you probably figured out, I'm not really a scientist. I'm just a guy. But these kids aren't scientists either. And if all this is so obvious to them, how come it's not that obvious to everybody? Think about it, won't you?
All right, good stuff, good stuff. Now, by tremendous public demand, we're going back to hear from our man on the streets, who looks incredibly familiar. Let's go back to Ian Somerhalder.
Hey everyone, it's Ian Somerhalder, your green man on the street. I am in New York City, where the United Nations is about to go into General Assembly, where this year there will be a massive focus on the issue of climate change. So I'm here to take a bite out of the green apple, to generally assemble and talk to people about a subject that always renews me, hope. Do you know anything about climate change?
Yeah, we've done it in geography at school.
You have? You know what it is, right, Mom?
Of course I do.
Have you guys experienced any of it in the UK?
Yes, a lot more flooding
lot more
in the
flooding.
UK. A lot more. It's getting warmer,
And
but
the
it's also
winters are
getting
getting cold.
wetter,
And the
and
winters
the
are
winter's
getting
getting colder. Yeah, yeah.
What's the consensus in the UK? Like, I mean, is there things that you guys are doing, driving cleaner cars, anything that...
They have, they're starting to have electric cars. There are a lot more here, but they're starting them in England. And I think we're trying to look after it a bit more, look after the world a bit more.
Do you know anything about solar energy?
They have solar panels on houses.
Yeah, do you know what actually works even in cloud cover like this?
No, I didn't know.
How do people get around in the UK?
Mainly cars.
Yeah?
But to be fair, with going more walking and more biking, particularly in the cities, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And since we've been in New York, we've only used the bike or walked.
Nice. Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Feels really good.
Makes you feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Are you guys pretty stoked on trying to figure out how to save your planet so you can live, be happier, be healthier?
Yeah. What we do, we try to eat food that's not shipped for miles. So we try to eat local fruit and veg, don't we?
Yeah, it's
and
better
meat.
that way.
Yeah.
If you eat local stuff, then they don't have to use all the fuel to ship all those foods, right?
Yeah.
You have a cool mom. Hey, how are you? Hey, do you have a minute for Planet Earth? Hi. What's going on? What's your name?
From the Vampire Diaries.
I am, sometimes, during the week.
My name's Caitlin.
Caitlin, what do you do?
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher?
Yep.
What ages?
First grade.
Early development?
Yep.
Critical thinking?
Yes.
What is climate change to you?
Climate change, global warming, things that are going wrong. Usually it's connected with a negative.
Right, but we got to make it a positive.
Yeah, we do.
So we have to do that.
Mhm.
So what can you do?
What can I do?
You have classrooms of first graders. You can do a
Yeah,
lot.
I'm gonna, help the kids learn how to take care of the environment.
Thank you. Laura, so you're from the UK, right?
I am, yes.
And I got your name wrong like 5 times. I went to
Yeah.
Nora, Dora, Bora. Okay, so do you know that enough solar energy reaches the Earth every hour to meet the needs of the entire population for a full year?
I didn't actually, not until today.
Crazy, right?
It is
And so, and I'm sure in the UK you guys have a lot of this, right? Cloud cover.
Yeah.
But you could still get solar energy through cloud cover.
Oh yeah, it's the rays come through the clouds, don't they? Anyway,
Right.
so.
Would you put solar on your house?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know
Anything to
people
help
that
the
do?
environment.
Huh?
Anything to help the environment.
Okay, cool. And you'll tell other people that, right?
Yeah,
You'll share that
definitely.
information?
Definitely.
Promise?
Yeah, I
Pinky
promise.
swear.
I swear. Pinky swear.
Boom.
Boom.
You rock. So you're 14,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And your sister or mom?
Mom.
Okay. So listen, climate change. You know a little bit about it, right?
Oh yeah.
You know what's happening.
Yeah.
Right? So what are you doing about it?
I was in the climate club at my school.
Was or are?
Well, I left my school, so.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So.
What did the climate club do?
We worked on educating the rest of the school about about climate change because it went from preschool through 8th grade. So a lot of the younger kids didn't know about climate change and that kind of thing. So we taught them about climate change, and we made dots, so do one thing. So everybody wrote down one resolution they had to help the climate.
And then it was also action based, right? It made people. You
Yeah.
helped them understand to go out and just do something. It wasn't
Yeah.
just about awareness.
Yes.
Wouldn't you hope that more kids had access to that kind of education?
Yeah, I would. I think that educating people about climate awareness is one of the first steps you can take.
Can
to
you please
changing it.
be active in that and like really spread that throughout the country?
Sure.
Help me out.
Okay.
Because I don't sleep very much at night and I'm really
Alright.
busy doing this stuff. Can you help me?
Yeah, we'll do.
You guys rock, man. Every movement has its moment. This is ours. So I'm dedicating a day to do my part. I'm dedicating a day to make a difference. So come join me. Go to 24hoursofreality.org and help me spread the word by hashtagging the word climate hope.
Now, we've been learning this hour about the amazing progress that young people are inspiring today. But meanwhile, the fact is that big oil is still a massive and problematic emitter of carbon pollution. In this next segment, from millennial filmmaker Vanessa Black, we travel to the Gulf of Mexico to take a closer look at the industry and to investigate whether the major oil producers are truly committed to cleaning up their environmental impact. After all, if you look at their ads, they talk a lot about how they're becoming cleaner and greener. And we know they're spending millions of bucks on these ads, but how much are they spending on actually cleaning up their product so that it doesn't damage our environment? Well, as Vanessa learns in her interviews, if you talk to the people who live in the Gulf and rely on its waters to make a living, they'll tell a very different, very personal story of big oil. Are these companies really doing all they can to avoid a catastrophic spill of carbon pollution into the atmosphere? Or is it just a lot of hot air? Let's take a closer look.
BP had 2 big goals: help the Gulf recover and learn from what happened so we could be a better, safer energy company.
Using algae to form biofuels, we're not competing with the food supply.
At Chevron, if we can't do it right,
we won't do it at all.
If you were to watch TV these days, you'd think big oil companies are starting to clean up their act by focusing on clean energy. In 2012, 94% of carbon emissions in the US came from burning fossil fuels. According to the EPA, 1 barrel of carbon-based crude oil will produce an average of 0.43 metric tons of CO2 emissions when burned. That's almost half of a typical 2-story house.
You turn on the TV and you see an ad and you see, oh, everything's great and everything is so wonderful. And when you spend hundreds of millions of dollars on that advertising campaign, of course people believe it.
What do they want us to see? And what is the reality? And why would they want us to think something different than what's really going on? In this episode of Youth Fuel, we travel to Texas and Louisiana to investigate big oil and their green marketing. I'm Vanessa Black. I'm a filmmaker and an activist, and I'm traveling around America to find out more about our biggest polluters and climate change deniers. We know the oil industry is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions and climate change. However, if you look at their advertising, they spend a lot of energy trying to convince us to think otherwise.
At Shell, we are developing more efficient fuels that can help us to get the most from our energy resources.
The place where I want to be.
What do you think of the company BP?
BP? From what I've heard about it, that they're a clean, like, save the earth type of company when it comes to chemicals and gas and all that stuff.
But the reality is, Chevron, Shell, ExxonMobil, and BP are oil companies that pump carbon pollution into the atmosphere and endanger life on our planet, and make billions of dollars in profit while doing so. So why is it that people think these companies are environmentally friendly? It's called greenwashing. Disinformation to present an eco-friendly, responsible public image. Many of us remember the Exxon Valdez spill in Alaska, but more recently, we remember the BP oil spill in 2010.
This is the biggest man-made disaster that directly affects one of the most productive estuaries in the world.
It doesn't seem like 25 years after the Exxon Valdez disaster that we've gotten any better ways to clean up oil when it's spilling. You know, we're drilling deeper and deeper, but when it comes to dealing with a catastrophe like this, we haven't improved the technologies.
Deepwater Horizon was the largest accidental marine oil spill in petroleum industry's history, and more than 200 million gallons of crude oil is estimated to have been pumped into the Gulf over the course of 87 days. A federal court ruling in September this year found BP was grossly negligent, and they could face additional billions in fines. We sat down with the locals to see how it's costing them.
I mean, we're still seeing instances where oil is washing ashore. There's still tar balls out there. You know, so this situation, this dilemma that we're in, it isn't long and gone, it's still happening.
BP released this statement on their website. Field notes from 2010, 2011, and 2012 do not document any visibly oiled oyster beds.
Water quality is okay. In reference to the health of the production and the small oysters, that's not there. So if BP's trying to claim that everything's fine, it's bullshit.
They got enough money to spend, they can paint their own picture the way that they want to. You know, so as far as being friendly to the environment, I mean, we're part of the environment and they certainly haven't been friendly to us.
Dirty stories like this are radically different than the rosy depictions we see in their advertisements. Outside of the Gulf, a lot of people think that BP is an environmentally friendly company.
That's news to me. First off, I didn't even know that.
BP needs to put their money where their mouth is and actually put that money towards restoring the Gulf instead of, you know, spending millions and, you know, maybe even tens, hundreds of millions on PR efforts.
Even knowing all the facts about pollution, top oil companies seem to be spending more money on commercials about renewables rather than following through with the ads that they are saying. In 2010, Chevron launched their We Agree campaign, describing Chevron's leadership in development of renewable energy. However, the company is now dialing down the program's funds and have encouraged staffers to look for jobs elsewhere. Shell ran a feel-good ad called Let's Go, implying their investments in green technology. But the fact is they're devastating the planet by oil drilling and refining. We called BP to set up an interview.
I've done a lot of research
on your sustainability, and I would love to just set up a call. But they declined to be on camera. After some email correspondence, they wouldn't answer all of our questions, including the ones we wanted answered the most.
If we're going to continue to, push the boundaries when it comes to drilling, then we also need to invest in safety and invest in research to make sure that these things can be done without destroying the environment, without, impacting our communities.
We're a 138-year-old business, a fifth-generation family operation, and I want my son to be able to do it.
We won't be fooled by oil's green ads, and we won't be tricked into believing that if we can't see it, it's not there. Just like the Gulf might look like it's back to normal, there are in fact environmental impacts happening daily that you do not see. When it comes to climate change, harmful pollution isn't always visible. Understanding these impacts is the first step for a cleaner future. Join the growing movement to solve the climate crisis and fuel a cleaner future.
There's so much more to come on 24 Hours of Reality, including another of former Vice President and Climate Reality Project founder Al Gore's reasons to have hope. Conversations with the World Bank's Dr. Jim Kim, Bradley Whitford, Reed Hunt, counselor to President John Podesta, and Lieutenant General Russell Honoré. More from our green man on the street, Ian Somerhalder, more field reports you need to see, and music from Fitz and the Tantrums, Linkin Park, and Jack Johnson. Incredible lineup, you guys. Now you can see all of the highlights of 24 Hours of Reality starting later tonight at 24hoursofreality.org. Now even a child can understand that there's a lot to lose when it comes to climate change. In fact, it's perhaps the young people of the world that are the best positioned to ask some of the tough questions on the issue. After all, they're the ones with the most at stake, right? As the United Nations prepares to convene a special meeting of the world's leaders to collaborate on negotiating a new agreement that can ensure a clean energy future, the Climate Reality Project thought it's a perfect time to invite the young people of the world to ask their nation's leaders the climate questions that are on their mind. Now, what's amazing is how simple this complex issue can become when you see it through a young person's eyes. And after viewing this montage of impressive youth from around the world, we'll see a single submission from a future climate leader from the United Kingdom. Here we go.
My name's Amy Farrett and I live in England.
Hi, I'm Aiden and I'm from Hong Kong.
Hi, my name's Molly and I live in Malaysia.
Hi, I am Mika from South Africa.
I live in Croatia.
I live in Auckland, New Zealand.
And I'm from Brazil.
Brazil.
From South Africa.
From France. From the United States.
United States.
From Mongolia.
From Malaysia.
From Dubai.
From Romania.
From Mexico City.
From the Philippines. From India.
From India.
Western Australia.
So my question for all world leaders is this.
And my question to the government bodies is...
My question to the UN is...
And I guess the first thing I want to say...
The first question I want to ask...
My question is... My question...
My question...
My question...
My question...
I'd like to question...
I would like to ask...
I'm asking members of the UN...
Why do you sit here and pretend?
Why are we letting companies freely pollute the atmosphere?
Why are you allowing the palm oil industry to destroy Malaysian rainforests?
Why do global economic policies consistently stimulate and encourage reliance on burning fossil fuels?
Why is there no more emphasis on developing a generation who can take responsibility for the causes of climate change?
Why, in South Africa, a country overflowing with sunlight, don't we use solar panels?
Why not countries with similar consumption formulate region-specific laws and targets for the next decade?
Why not to put pressure on these companies to change their methods?
Why don't governments start creating sustainable modes of transport?
Para preservar o bem mais precioso que existe no planeta.
Why not change our focus, leave animosity and hatred and competition behind?
Why not incentivize people to use energy more efficiently?
Why not invest more resources in communities?
Why not strive to reduce carbon emissions?
Everyone has a stake in what happens to our planet.
The global problem requires a global solution.
It's time to act. So what are you waiting for?
My name's Esme and I'm from London in the UK. At every climate summit in the last 10 years, countries and their respective governments have struggled to come to an agreement on climate change for fear of compromising their own economies. And what often develops is a blame game, where these governments don't look at their own individual responsibility, but what other countries have done. So I asked the UN, why do you attempt to get countries to agree to carbon emission cuts alone and leave these pledges so open to interpretation? Why not get companies and individuals to submit sustainable solutions and ensure countries pledge to implement them, thus enabling greater investment in R&D and significantly enlarging the global market for green business? thus not compromising any country's economy, but improving it. Give our generation not just a voice, but a future. Thank you.
This is overwhelming, you guys. We've had over 10 million views already, and at least one of them is my mother. So thanks to all of you for being a part of this event, especially you, Mom. Now, as someone who's fortunate to spend some quality time talking with young people about climate reality, I'm encouraged about our future. Thanks to leading voices like Al Gore, a generation is rising up with a great sense of what we're doing and what we must do to build toward a brighter and greener future. And don't forget to do your part, you guys. You can make a world of difference. Go to 24hoursofreality.org to dedicate a day to climate action. Thank you for being part of Hour 11. And that can only mean one thing about our future here at 24 Hours of Reality. That's right, you guys. Hour 12 is coming right up. Here we go.